All right, well, we decided to keep on pushing forward and made it back to Oakshade tonight. We didn't race last night, took the night off, kind of regrouped. We had a lot of work to do with all the stuff that we tore up last week. So Brandon basically built, I don't know, half of a new car. We actually peeled the old door number off the other door and just stuck it on. That's no Slicker was great. He got me a whole wrap for the car within a day, like early in the week. We just didn't have time to put it on, and so we just cut the old number off the other door and put that on this new door. But new door, new plastic, a new upper fender, new side fender, new hood, new upper fender over there, new fender flare. So yeah, a handful of things replaced this week. Oh, new T-bar underneath the deck there, new deck panel, I think. New front sail, or yeah, sail panel on the front there. So yeah, Brandon was quite busy this week. We finished her up today and came back to Oakshade. So we're gonna see how this all shakes out. Hot lap qualifying again tonight, and hopefully, fingers crossed, things go a little bit smoother this week. So.
All right, rolling on for some qualifying.
Slick, it's Oakshade, kind of to be expected. Brandon put down some pretty good laps, and we'll start on the outside pole of this heat race. So once again, that's what the heat looks like. So we made a few changes, hopefully go in the right direction here, and see if we can't win this heat race.
We'll tighten it up. We get that 4 green flag, 10 laps to go here in heat number 2. Everybody eager to see the next heat.
outside pole track is, I don't even know what to call it. It's not great. It's not great. Super dry, super slick, super dusty. But, you know, it's been dry for 3 weeks around here, and it's been windy every weekend, it seems like, so that's par for the course, I suppose. But he ended up finishing 4th, so 1 spot out of the redraw, which is still fine. We're, I think, starting 7th or 8th in the show or something like that. So not a terrible heat race. Didn't hurt nothing, which is a bonus given our luck recently. So we'll go through this thing, do some maintenance on it, some fuel put in it, maybe make some changes, and hopefully this track's a little bit better in the feature. It typically gets a little bit better in the feature because the sun gets off of it. They water it at intermission, so that helps a little bit. But right now she is dirty, very, very dirty and dry. So you wonder what maintenance looks like. We talk about it all the time. We talk about we're gonna get this thing maintenance up, we're gonna get it ready to go. That on a typical night in between a heat and a feature, this is what happens. The car goes up on the lift, 3 of the 4 tires get pulled off. Dad starts grinding on those, or the tire guy, whoever's the tire guy of the night, starts grinding on them. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the edges back on the tire. 2 things. We're trying to get the edges back on the tire, and we're trying to knock the top surface of rubber off. Because see, after you heat something up and you cool it down, think of it kind of seals over. We don't want that. We want fresh, the freshest rubber we can have. So we knock that top layer off. Simultaneously, what that does, you grind each tire depending on where it's at on the car a certain way, and then we try to get, you can see like these edges. See how that's feathering up like that? Because that's the direction the track is pushing across the tire. This happens to be a right front tire. So we'll try to knock that edge off of there and basically sharpen it back up, kind of like sharpening a knife. You're just trying to optimize your contact with the track and what's actually driving the car forward or turning the car into the corner. So I'll go through, I'll look at each hub, just make sure everything looks right. You know, what I'm looking for is I'm looking at all the brake rotor bolts, spindle bolts, upper, making sure there's no debris or no stones hung up in the caliper, because that could break a rotor. So I'm just making sure that everything's still where it's supposed to be, everything's still tight, there's nothing that looks out of place or out of line. I'll look around on the motor, make sure nothing's leaking, make sure nothing's loose. You know, it's just kind of, it's just a real good visual. You know, you want to look at every part of the car and make sure, I mean, you just race the thing, you know, so you just want to make sure that everything's still where it's supposed to be and doing what it's supposed to do. Because like I said, you can break something and not even know it sometimes. I've seen cracked rotors and things like that, caught them, you know, before it became catastrophic. And that's what we're doing. So I'll look over each corner of the car, make sure everything looks sound, and then we'll make whatever change, put fuel in the car, make whatever changes we're gonna make, and then bolt the tires back on. Sometimes we don't bolt a right rear on or a left rear on until we get closer to feature time, just because depending on what the track does, depends on what tire choice we'll make. But the other advantage of getting all these tires off and letting everything kind of hang here is it cools the shocks down, cools all the suspension components down, because believe it or not, these shocks, they're oil filled and they get hot during a race from working up and down. So cool everything down, get a look at everything, and that's why we do this.
Here we go. Well, she's a dirty one. My goodness. this again. Well, nope, they waved that off, so keep the caution out.
Fighting to keep enough moisture in it, and the wind's kind of dead tonight, and the dust was so bad you literally couldn't see as a fan, and the driver couldn't see at all. You know, imagine going through fog and you're trying to go fast, you know. So it's unfortunate. He pulled it in, smart move on his part, you know, saved the car. It was getting kind of dangerous. I mean, honestly, if somebody were to wreck on the backstretch, you would have never seen him till you hit him. So smart move. Unfortunate. You know, I'm not mad at the track. I mean, this is just one of those deals where, you know, it's been hot and dry around here for about 3 weeks, and you need to be able to put a lot of water into a track and get it deep enough to make it survive. And just unfortunately, the odds have been against them. So car's all in one piece. It sucks because we couldn't figure anything out. I mean, we think we had a pretty good car. You know, it ran well. It made a few changes. Seemed to respond, but unfortunately,
beat me in the heat race. Ran 1-3 and running 4th before he pulled in. So the car was good. Felt good. You know, I mean, I was blind. I was physically blind, and it's not worth junking a car over running, you know, 5th or 6th. Or the only way it would have been worth it is if you were running the top 3, and at that point you probably could see up there because it was a snowball effect. The more cars that ran over the stuff, the worse and worse and worse and worse it got. So it was horrible. It was bad.
oh, I mean, we can look out there. You guys can kind of see in the video. See that haze? I mean, they're under caution, you know. So, like I said, just a kind of a crappy circumstance. These kind of things happen sometimes. We're gonna see if I can't jump in this car and make a few laps just to make sure that everything's good on the old wrist. So we'll show you some of that. But yeah, unfortunate way down tonight, but hey, sometimes a straight race car loading in a trailer is better than the alternative. So we'll move on.